We're ready to go. And we welcome not only to that Jamieson show, but to the great state of New Jersey, legendary guitar player Ace Frehley. What's up, man?
I have landed.
You have, and now you get to bear the the brunt.
I just flew in from Tyndall. You see that space trucking video? Was that a riot?
Yeah. And I like how you got your name in there, you know, Space Ace Trucking, of course. And
I just came off the top of my head. I was singing the chorus and it just came out. And the engineer goes, "That's great. We're going to keep it."
Well, it's funny, man. Like, you know, you tackle the heavy hitters on both of these Origin albums. You're on your second one now, Volume 2, of course. But you're talking about the Ritchie Blackmores of the world, the Jimmy Pages, the Hendrixes, and, of course, yourself. Why do we keep going back to our legendary heroes? Why aren't we making new guitar heroes? I can't think of any that's in your guys' league in the last 20 years.
I understand what you're saying. You know, people always ask me, what new groups do you like? And I go, you know, you got to understand, when I was a teenager, I grew up with Led Zeppelin, Jimmy Page, The Cream, Eric Clapton, you know, Jeff Beck, the Jeff Beck group, you know, Rod Stewart. You know, I saw them perform at the skating rink in Central Park. I was backstage playing cards with poker with Greg Allman, you know. Cher was on stage opening up for the Greg Allman band, you know, the Leonard Skinner, rather. I mean, it's just crazy, the stuff I've done and the stuff I've been exposed to, but there's no bands today that really sound like the bands from the 60s.
Yeah, in the 70s. And the thing that I would say to people, especially with Kiss, is like, can you imagine trying to do Kiss with the makeup now? Like, your guy's identity would be blown in like 20 minutes once you're back at somebody's barbecue and they go, "Hey, could I get a picture?" It's on Instagram, and the whole mystique was blown. I think that was obviously part of the charm of Kiss, was like, who are these guys?
Man, I was thinking the other day, you know, with the way social media is, because every time if I say anything, you know, if I talk about politics or I endorse somebody or say something that has sexual innuendos, you know, it goes viral, you know. And I'm saying to myself, Jesus Christ, if in the 70s when I used to party after the shows with Kiss, you know, with Rush and all the other bands we opened with, if we had cell phones back then, we would have all gotten in trouble.
Exactly. The only thing that was viral back then, you just went to the doctor and got a little shot for it. But
tell me about it. Yeah, we'd probably get a shot of penicillin once a month, you know. But then with the advent of AIDS in the 80s, that's kind of slowed down everybody.
Yeah,
people started dying.
Yeah, you gotta be protected these days. And I'm
a one-woman man these days. You know, I got a new girlfriend, Laura Cove, and she sings on the backgrounds on Lola.
On the new Origins Volume 2 album. Yeah, I was going to ask you, because I know these are songs that obviously inspired you as a musician and probably also as a person. What else inspires you these days?
Myself. No, actually, I really get off on, you know, my guitar collection, you know, new equipment. You know, believe it or not, I've engineered a lot of my guitar solos on my previous albums, and sometimes even vocals. You know, I'll wake up at 4:00 in the morning. I want to do a vocal idea, and there's no engineer around, so I got to do it myself. You know, so I taught myself how to do all that stuff with the help of working with great engineers like Eddie Kramer and Bob Ezrin.
Yeah.
And my daughter's kind enough to give me a cup of coffee.
Oh, very nice.
Thank you, Monique.
You're welcome, Daddy.
You got a little Incredible Hulk in a cup.
Yeah. Well, we're big Avengers fans, so what can I tell you?
Yeah, good. So you're inspired by you. You got the new girlfriend. You're here in Jersey. Everything's going great. You have 2 full albums of covers now. Some great special guests. Lita Ford, who's, to me, got one of the sexiest voices in rock and roll.
Robin Zander did a great job on 30 Days in the Hole, don't you think?
He's got a sexy voice too, yes.
I mean, I'm a huge Humble Pie fan, and I was at the Fillmore East when they recorded Live at the Fillmore both nights. I remember standing there watching in awe of, Peter Frampton. The interplay between Peter Frampton and Steve Marriott was amazing.
Yeah.
And that was a great band. But, I could never tackle a Steve Marriott vocal because he had a range like you can't believe. So first person I thought of was Robin Zander because he expressed interest on performing vocals on one of my records, and he just killed it.
Yeah, he really did. Your guitar tone and his voice go together very well. And I wouldn't mind a full album from both of you guys. Bruce Kulick also makes a guest appearance, which is nice.
A lot of people think I might not be friends with Bruce Kulick. I've been friends with Bruce since for 20 years. I played a solo on ESP, their album, when he used to have a band with Carl Cochran, my old guitar player, bass player. And out of all the guitar players that have, taken my place in Kiss, Bruce by far blows them all away as far as I'm concerned. He's definitely the best guitar player.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that, Ace, because the other part of that equation is to me, obviously being a fan as well, he seems to be the guy that was also most beloved by the fans. Why do you think that is?
When Tommy gets up there and does my solos, he tries to play him note for note, but he doesn't have the swagger or the attitude. Bruce used to play my solos, but he kind of make them his own, and he switched notes a little, and he had some originality. Tommy's just going through the motions. Bruce by far blows Tommy off the stage, and it is what it is.
Yeah, no, obviously Gene and Paul let Bruce do his thing a lot more, which was obviously great for the fans. Has anybody ever, so you've been doing these covers, has anybody covered any of your solo stuff? Somebody must have done at least Rip It Out, right?
I don't pay attention to that. What's that group? The guys from Nirvana, what's that group they have now?
Oh, Foo Fighters.
Yeah, I think they did Getaway. A lot, several of my songs have been covered by other bands. John 5 did Fractured Mirror, and I listened to it, and I love John, and he plays on 2 tracks on this album, I'm Down and Politician. But, when I listened to John's version, he really didn't do anything to it. He pretty much duplicated everything that I did on the original record. I thought he was going to make it a little more of his own, but, I guess he was just paying homage to one of his idols.
Well, that's the thing, because, that goes back to what I was asking you before about how come we don't really find too many guitar heroes in the modern day. But if there was one, it would probably be John 5. And as you said, who's his idol? Mr. Ace Frehley. So,
John's a much better guitar player than me. John, he can play. He told me he's done some sessions with Glenn Campbell. He can play country, he can play classical, he can play, I'm pretty much a blues-based rock guitar player. I have my limitations, but that's okay because, what I do very well.
Yeah, nobody has your right hand, Ace. So,
oh my God. And I have simian palms.
Yeah.
I have a simian crease. You notice that? Okay. Most people's lines break.
Oh, wow.
Mine is straight.
That's what happens when you're born on Jandela.
Let me see your palms. Put your palms up. See your lines break?
Yep.
I have a line that goes straight across. Less than 5% of the population on the planet have that. That's probably part of my, alien DNA. I was abducted probably in the mid 80s. I woke up it was a circle on the grass when I lived in Yorktown, New York. I don't remember what happened. They wipe your memory when they abduct you.
And they give you the creases. I
had the creases from the time I was born, but maybe they abducted my mother.
Yeah.
That could have been possible.
A long line of Frehley abductions, yeah. So covering all these bands, I wondered, it's sort of the old question, but since you're kind of in that mode of covering other musicians, if you had to put together, Ace, your ultimate rock band. So you got a singer, guitar player, bass player, drummer. What do you put on there?
I don't know. I'm really happy with the group I'm working with now. They're out of Nashville. They used to back up Gene when he was doing his vault experiences. And then when Gene invited me in 2018 to go to Australia and Japan with him, I had them back me up. And then I ended up stealing them. But as far as the supergroup, I don't know. You know, it's hard to say. I have to do a little head scratching on that.
How about guys, Gene, Paul, Ace, and Peter in the 70s? That's a pretty good supergroup right there.
You know, we were all so different. I mean, seriously, we're all completely different personalities. But for some reason, when the four of us got together, the chemistry worked. And I can't explain it. It was just like one of those flukes. And you know, when the four of us got together, as different as we were, we put all that stuff aside when we hit the stage.
Was there ever a song over the years in Kiss that you always wanted in the set list that you never got in?
Not really. I thought the song list that we picked were pretty good. You know, you try to pick the songs that the fans want to hear and are most popular. You know, one of the songs that was a real pain in the ass to play was "I Was Made for Loving You" because I had to go chugga 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 chugga. You know, and by the end of the song, you know, I had a cramp in my wrist. You know, but other than that, you know, I thought the song lists were great. You know, Detroit Rock City was always a lot of fun to play. You know, Bob Ezrin, by the way, wrote that guitar solo.
Oh wow!
And me and Paul pretty much did what Bob, you know, told us to play, and it's one of the classic solos. You know, when you think about Kiss, and you think about me and Paul playing together, you know, Detroit Rock City is one of the first songs that comes to mind.
The first rock song I ever heard, Ace, and I still get the chills when I hear that song, you know, all these years later. So, 45th anniversary.
Paul was nice enough to do a video with me and sing on Fire and Water on Origins Volume 1,
Yep.
which turned out fabulous, I thought. You know, he killed the vocal on that. You know, and I got Lita Floor to do Jumpin' Jack Flash on this record. You know, she came to my house and spent the weekend, and I coached her for 2 days. I played producer, and I pulled this great vocal out of her. And I think, I mean, I could have sung Jumpin' Jack Flash because, you know, to do a Jagger song isn't that hard, because Jagger isn't the greatest vocalist in the world, and neither am I. But I thought it'd be a nice, cool twist to have a chick sing that song, and Lita nailed it, you know? And,
yeah.
I mean, people go to me, how do you know Lita? I go, what, are you kidding me? The Runaways used to open for Kiss in the 70s. I've known Lita Ford for, you know, 40 years.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of which, it's the 45th anniversary, just passed a couple of weeks ago of Alive. Got any comments on that masterpiece?
Well, most of the fans that come up to me and say, "Ace, I picked up a guitar because of you," and they usually cite the Alive album.
Yeah.
And probably, you know, shocked me, you know, in the guitar solo.
Well, it's
probably the most
Alive
impressive.
1 though, Ace.
Huh?
The first Alive 1.
Oh, Shock Me wasn't on a live one?
No,
Is
it's
that
not.
on a live one? You think I remember this shit? Come on, 40 years ago, you know?
Yeah.
All the drugs and alcohol I've consumed over the years. I mean, thank God I got sober 14 years ago. God, you know, knock on wood. Celebrated September 15th.
Congratulations, man. We're all glad you're still making music, and obviously we can't forget the time in Frehley's Comet, which is one of my greatest pieces of memorabilia. Is this guitar pick right here?
That's my signature.
That's your name, and this was from the first tour, L'Amour's in Brooklyn. My friends and I got to the front. That's when headliners went on at 2 a.m. and you were flipping picks out at the audience, and I'm up in the front rocking like this, and all of a sudden everybody behind me starts grabbing my arm. I thought they were going to break my arm off, and I'm like, what are they doing to me? And I realized my arm was so sweaty, your pick stuck to my arm when you
Are
threw
you
it.
fucking kidding me? That's crazy.
And I still have it to this day.
My girlfriend painted this.
Wow.
Not only is she an elementary school teacher, but she's an amazing graphic artist, singer, and she's also a personal trainer. She's got me in great shape. I'm down to 200. So my goal is about 195, and we're also building a gym in the basement as well with a Stairmaster, treadmill, life cycle. So, I'm getting in shape. At my age, I gotta stay busy,
Yeah, we need you back on the road, man.
It's gonna be a while yet, man, and it's bumming me out. I really miss performing live. I had to postpone so many concerts, and it's, but luckily I have other things to do to keep me busy.
Yeah, and on Origins Volume 2, much like the first one, you cover yourself on there. Was that sort of, you do a version of She, was that kind of the influence of the guys in your new band, who I actually know very well, Jeremy and Ryan and Phil and those guys?
Well, we did 11 songs, and then the record company asked for a bonus track, and the first song that came to mind was She, because I had been performing it live with my touring band, and the guys in my band sang it amazing. And I think it was a nice sentiment to be able to showcase my touring band on the record. And they did a great job on She. I'm not even singing on that song. I read a couple of reviews where they said Ace does a great vocal on She, and his band's backing him up. I'm not singing on She. It's just, Ryan, Jeremy, and
Phil.
what's the bass player's name?
Phil.
I can't remember anybody's name anymore. Phil.
Yeah.
Ryan, Phil, and Jeremy. They nailed the vocal.
Yeah. I like how Gene passed them off like a groupie from the 70s to you. He's like, all right, I'm done with them, Ace. You can have them now. And you ran with it. But those guys are so super talented, and they worship you, much like John 5 does. Here, I'll give you. We'll end on this. My favorite piece of Kiss merch, right here.
Those are rare.
Yeah, well, it's rare to find one that's intact, because when the record came out originally, the first time you shot it, it broke. So I probably had about 7 copies of Love Gun on vinyl until I found one with a good.
What is that piece of memorabilia worth? Have you ever priced it?
Just the Love Gun, I don't know, but with a pristine vinyl, you could probably get a pretty good price for it.
Yeah.
What's your favorite piece of Kiss merch? Do you have one?
I don't have a favorite piece, but I'll tell you what my least favorite piece is, and that's the Kiss caskets.
Oh, yeah.
Because when my friend Vinnie Paul passed away, I was invited to the funeral, and I, got up and gave a speech about, what a great guy Vinnie was. And of course, I mentioned Dimebag, and I said they'd both be up in heaven playing in a rock and roll band now. And then they asked me to go out to the cemetery, and they were going to lower down the casket, and they asked me to make another speech, which I was unprepared for. So first thing off the top of my head, I go, well, everybody's seen The Wizard of Oz, and everybody's looking at me like, what is Ace talking about? Is he loaded? And I said, well, remember the part where they're talking to the Tin Man, and he said, you got a heart? He goes, well, you don't know how lucky you are to not have a heart. He goes, hearts, aren't any good unless they can be made unbreakable. And he goes, I still want one. And he goes, well, it's not so much how you're judged by, not how you love people, but how much you are loved by others. And I kind of used that sentiment to talk about Vinnie, because he was just such a great guy and a great drummer and a good friend. And, we used to play blackjack together in Vegas. And then I got the news. It was just like, floored me.
And we know how much you were loved.
But, I'm standing there giving this speech, and there's a Kiss casket, and my picture's on the fucking side of the casket. And I didn't think it was appropriate.
Yeah.
You know, get buried in a regular casket. I mean, Gene, please. You know?
No, I get it, but it's also how much those guys loved you, and obviously, you know, Dimebag had you tattooed on his chest, so
Well, tattoo's one thing, and you know, I don't mind if fans, you know, want to put my face on their arm or chest, but you know,
Yeah.
I think the caskets we can do without.
All right, fair enough. We'll stick to the love gun, and of course, everybody pick up Origins Volume 2 from Ace Frehley, Rock and Roll Hall of Famer, and that'll tide us over until new Ace music, and hopefully I'll run into you in Jersey sometime.
All right, well, it was great talking to you, great seeing you again, and hopefully this pandemic will be over soon, so we can see each other face to face. Maybe you, me, and Nick can go out, you know, and hang out at the shore and have a barbecue.
Yeah, let's get together. You got it, man.
Rock and roll.
Be well, Ace.